Terrace City Council. It's a pleasure to see so many people here tonight with us. If you would, please remember to silence your electronic devices. And Vice Mayor, if you would lead us in the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. As we gather, O Lord, help us to remember and put into practice the golden rule as we make decisions and show respect for each other and the citizens we represent. As we show thanks for the many workers in research, medicine, first responders, and all who serve to keep us safe, fed, and comfortable. And let us be grateful for living in peace and pray for those who do not. And in the many names we call you, all God's people said, Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. So our first item tonight is we have a very special guest with us. We have our new Greco Middle School principal, Wendy Rauld, is with us. And we would welcome you to the podium. And we want to especially thank you for coming tonight in lieu of it being the first week of school and you're in a new assignment and all the things that are going on with the kickoff of school. And I know this is a very, very busy time for you. And so we're always appreciative, but especially with everything we know you have going on. So it's a pleasure to have you here and welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really just blessed to have the opportunity to serve Greco. This is my 14th year in education, and I was moved to Greco Middle School in January, so I got to work there as the APC for about 4 months before I became the principal. And in getting to work at the school and be a part of the school and work with the faculty, I got to learn more about the challenges that we face at Greco, but the potential and the amazing opportunities that can happen through Greco. As a parent, I know for me the biggest challenges that my daughter faced in middle school was, 1, safety, and 2, getting a good education. So I know that's the priority for most parents, and I want to make sure that that is our focus instructionally. It's making Greco a place where students feel safe, where students feel like they belong, and where students are receiving a high-quality education. And I know that can't happen with Greco remaining a C school. So our instructional priority for this year is to create that sense of belonging by creating a student-centered environment in which students have our big 3, student voice, student choice, and student ownership in the classroom. Students have to feel a part of something to be able to achieve, and that's our motto for this year: when students belong, or when students achieve, or students belong when students achieve. So we have been working tirelessly to make sure our teachers are prepared to implement the small group instruction that's necessary, that they're incorporating the student voice in the classroom, so we're checking for understanding. But on the other side of it, we have to address the needs of the whole child. So we know our kids have been through a lot, our faculty members have been through a lot. And when I talk about safety at school and I talk about belonging at school, our students need to feel a part of something. So on the culture side, we're also implementing our house system. So similar to, if you know anything about Harry Potter, the house system, we have 4 houses that our students are going to be sorted into. And it's going to give them that sense of community that I feel was missing when I first got there in January, something to motivate them. And as we target our specific behavioral goals, they can earn points for their house and for themselves. So when we look at educating the whole child, we have to make sure we are looking for that sense of belonging, that sense of purpose, that sense of we have high expectations for behavior. But then on the other side, we have to do that at the same time instructionally, and that is through incorporating student voice and student choice and student ownership of their assignments in the classroom daily.
Thank you, Principal Rauld. And like I said, we're very pleased to have you here tonight. And is there kind of a loaded question, but what can we as a city do to help you achieve the success you're striving for? Is there something we can do here to help to support you or to scaffold you?
I think the biggest thing is just changing the image of Greco, and supporting that is by having those conversations that good things are happening at Greco. I mean, a lot of times all we hear are the things that happen via social media, via the news, and I want, if anything, that the council could do is just continue to be a champion for Greco. Continue to say that there is good work, there's good teaching and learning, there is a plan, there is a strategic plan moving forward to accelerate student achievement, there's a strategic plan to address the inequities that are happening as far as safety and bullying. So if you can be our champions in that aspect, we're willing as a faculty to put in the hard work to get that done.
Very good. Mr.
If I
Schmidt.
may, welcome. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm the council liaison to our Temple Terrace School Support Committee. It's been around for about 25, 26 years now, quite a while. And we have several of the current members present here tonight. And we look forward to we will invite you to address us and come talk to us. And these are parents and concerned citizens who meet to do what we can to further the improvement of the education in our Temple Terrace regional schools. So you'll get that invitation. We do meet Monday, but I think we got I believe we meet Monday. We pretty good agenda. So I want to give you the time to, come in and really address what we can do to help you and what we could do to help the entire student body at Greco. But again, welcome. Thank you for coming out tonight, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Council members?
Would you mind telling them about the IB opportunities that are coming to Greco?
Absolutely. We are currently working toward this year getting our IB authorization. So that's going to be a major component. Again, within the IB curriculum, there's just so much that the students have to give them that global perspective. And since we are so close to getting authorization, our teachers have been building wonderful unit plans. So we are right there. We'll start our authorization project in October, and hopefully we'll have authorization by the end of the year. But that's an exciting attractor to this area, and with the combination of everything we just talked about, that should accelerate student learning.
So will that be, the whole school be an IB school, or will just the IB be a school within the school like King?
It would be a whole school IB through the middle school model. Yes, sir.
And would that have an impact on current students who are there that maybe don't want to go to IB? How does that work?
So IB is more of a way of teaching more than just being a part of a program. My daughter graduated from the IB program at Strawberry Crest, so I do know how rigorous that program is at the high school. In the middle school years, it's a liberal arts program, and it's an approach to learning.
Okay.
So that's where it would benefit all kids to have that global perspective and that approach to learning. So it
Okay.
is for the whole
So the
school.
students would stay at the.
Yes, sir.
Wouldn't be a changeover of, okay,
No, sir.
good. Councilmember Abel?
Thank you so much for coming. I wanted to ask, is Greco still doing the STEM and pre-CAPS program that they had a few years ago?
Yes, we are, and we've implemented that within our IB program. So for the IB students, they have to take a semester of fine arts and a semester of design. For our students who are still within that STEM program, they take the full year of design in addition to taking a foreign language. So we have not abandoned that. Mr. McKernan has a wonderful program going, and the kids who are aligned to that are still really excited to be a part of it.
So those programs are elective programs. versus
Correct.
IB is school-wide.
Because that is school-wide, and it impacts every single subject area. Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else, council members? Mr. Chambers?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for coming. Welcome to Temple Terrace.
Thank you.
That was it.
Very good. Ms. Rauld, thank you again for coming. We're thrilled to have you here. You can call on any of us. We are very happy to support your school and support anything we can do to help make you better. Partnerships, just let us know.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the School Support Committee. There are 3 vacancies on the School Support Committee for a term extending from August 17th, 2021 until August 17th, 2024. The city received 4 applications for these 3 vacancies, one from Mike Donahue, one from Allison Fernandez, and 2 from current members who are eligible to reapply, Kingsley Kelly Paratino and Lynn Smalley. So, I see some of them are here. It's not in my notes, but I see some of them are here. So we'll go in order. If you would like to say comments, this is strictly voluntary. We'll go in order. Mike Donahue. Mike, would you like to say a few words? Welcome.
Mayor and members of council, what a nice presentation by Ms. Rauld. That's very nice, very nice. I'm applying for a position, one of the open slots on the school support. I have lived here for 45 years. My 4 children went to Temple Terrace schools. My 5 grandchildren who live here go to Temple Terrace schools, and my daughter teaches at Lewis, so I have some skin in the game. And professionally, I taught some relatives of people up here in the council, very close relatives. I taught at King High School way back, and then I was a dean at Tampa Bay Tech, and then I was a principal at Irwin and Brewster Technical Center my last 20 years. And the unique thing about those schools at Irwin and Brewster and all those schools is we had no attendance area. It was strictly recruiting students. So public relations and customer service was our forte, and we were very good at it. So I bring that sort of thing with me to the board, perhaps in a helping way. So with that, I will thank you for considering me, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Donahue. Ms. Fernandez, is Allison Fernandez? I didn't see Mrs. Fernandez not here. Kingsley Kelly Peratino, welcome.
Hi, I'm Kingsley Kelly Peratino. I have a huge name. I'm a current teacher at Lewis, year 23. I'm also a 45-year resident of Temple Terrace. I am vice chair, or was vice chair of the school support committee for the last 3.5 years, and I love it. I love being a part of helping our schools.
Thank you so much. And Lynn Smalley, welcome, Mrs. Smalley.
Should we take this off? I hate these things. I'm Lynn Smalley. We moved here in 1984 and raised our kids here. Our children went to Temple Terrace Elementary and Greco and Tampa Bay Tech. So I know some of the people around here. I substitute taught for 6 years when my kids were little because I was a stay-at-home mom. And we were very involved with soccer and church and things in this town. My heart is here in Temple Terrace forever. My kids grew up and bought houses in Temple Terrace and now raising their families and dogs here in Temple Terrace. I taught for 20 years, 2nd grade at Temple Terrace Elementary, and I volunteer in the schools. I've served 2 terms. I would like to do a 3rd term, my last term, and then I can enjoy my teaching retirement. So, thank you.
Very good, thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, these are the nights that the city council members hate the most, where you have 4 applicants and 3 positions, or 5 and 4 positions, and somebody is not going to get in. And these are the votes that we hate the most, worse than zoning, worse than anything else, because we have 4 very capable, dedicated people here who would all do a tremendous job. So one of you is going to not make the cut tonight, but I would encourage you to please understand that it's only because we have 1 too many applicants, and that whoever doesn't get this, it's not because we don't want you, it's just because there's 4 and 3, right? Do the math, you're teachers, right? So please, don't despair. We have plenty of room for all of citizen volunteers. So council members, you have a list of 4 names. I need you to check 3 of them.
Always feel like we need the music from Jeopardy or something.
The music.
So we have 4 votes for Michael Donahue, 1 vote for Allison, 5 votes for Kingsley, and 5 votes for Lynn Smalley.
So is there a motion to appoint Mike Donahue, Kingsley Kelly Peratino, and Lynn Smalley to the School Support Committee?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much for your service, your dedication, and I'd like to thank Mrs. Fernandez as well. There's plenty of room for, like I said, all volunteers. So thank you, everybody, for stepping up. Next item okay, it's easy from here out, right? It's just zoning stuff. I mean, next item is consideration of the minutes from our August 3rd meeting.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
And a second. Is there discussion or corrections to the minutes? If not, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed. The minutes are passed. Persons wishing to be heard on items not listed on the agenda. We have a 3-minute time limit for all people wishing to address the council on items not on the agenda or not on the consent agenda. We do ask that speakers come to the podium, state your name and city of residence. We'd like to assure the public that all their comments are taken seriously by the mayor, the council members, the city manager. We have directors in attendance, and we do follow up on your concerns. I presently have no forms completed to speak. Are there members of the public who wish to address the council at this time? Okay. Seeing none, the next item of business is the second public hearing and second reading of Ordinance 1509, approving the comprehensive plan amendment of folio numbers 038181-0000, 038190-0000, 038204-0000, and 038205-0000, otherwise known as CPA 21-01. I'll open the public hearing. Mark Hudson, Executive Planner from the Planning Commission, is here. Welcome, Mr. Hudson.
Thank you. Good evening, Mark Hudson, Planning Commission staff. We have here for you this evening a plan amendment for your consideration. We did make a very similar presentation to you about a month ago, and I'll try to go through this quickly since some of it is repetitive. But just to reiterate what the mayor shared with us, that this is TTCPA 21-01. Is it on? There we go. This shows you the general location of the plan amendment. It is located near the confluence of Harney Road and Temple Terrace Highway. And this is an aerial of the site. You can see currently is undeveloped. And you can see some of the development pattern that surrounds the site. Particularly to the east, there is a strip center anchored by Winn-Dixie, and I'll have some photographs of that in a moment. To the south is a bottling plant. To the southeast is the new Amazon distribution facility, which isn't reflected on this aerial because it's a little bit dated. And to the north is a religious facility and some warehousing. So by way of a little bit of background, this was privately initiated. It's coming in at a little bit less than 50 acres. The current land use on the property is Hillsborough County Community Mixed Use 12. This is part of a voluntary annexation. And the applicant has requested basically the same land use category for the city of Temple Terrace Community Mixed Use 12. So this shows you the future land use map as it stands today. You can see the lavender color of the Community Mixed Use 12, and with similar land use categories both to the east, west, and south. Urban Mixed Use 20 is to the north. And by your action tonight, if you approved it, the map really doesn't change a lot. It's the same color designated for that land use category in Temple Terrace as it is in Hillsborough County. So in the practical sense, you are moving the jurisdictional boundary and bringing that into the municipality. I do have a few slides and arrows just to give you a little context of the area and give you a little bit of a sense of the character. As you can see, again, this is an arrow that shows you that the site currently is undeveloped. And you can see some of the commercial activities to the east and to the north, and the bottling plant that is to the south. Again, the Amazon distribution center is not particularly reflected on its aerial. It is a bit dated. Again, this shows you the Winn-Dixie directly to the east. And this is a slide, even this one is a little bit dated. I took this a couple months ago, and I'm sure they're a little bit further along than this, but this is the new Amazon distribution facility in Temple Terrace. And this is the bottling plant that I've mentioned a couple times that is just south west of Davis and Harney Road. And this shows you the religious facility on the north side of Temple Terrace Highway, directly across from the proposed development. And this shows you that warehousing that I mentioned earlier. And there are 3 single-family homes that are directly to the north that abut this property, and this is one of those 3. So our staff did analyze this, and we do our analysis based on maximum build-out. As you can see, typically when I present these to you, I show you some change, but the entitlements are exactly the same in Hillsborough County than they are in Temple Terrace, up to 637 dwelling units, 1.1 million square feet of non-residential uses. I do know that you have a zoning later on that you'll see the proposal of what they actually do want to build on there, which is substantially less than what is shown to you on the slide, but we do like to look at the maximum build-out potential to determine what the potential impacts on our infrastructure and the like. We did analyze this in particular related to the Temple Terrace Imagine 2040 comprehensive plan, and we particularly pulled out goals, objectives, and policies that we felt supported this development and this application. You have the complete goals, objectives, and policies in your packet, but just generally speaking, we did feel it was consistent with neighborhood conservation, community development, multimodal transportation and corridors and major activity centers, economic development areas, the provisions dealing with growth management, citywide redevelopment strategies, the provision of public facilities, annexations, and intergovernmental coordination. Also, we did interact not only with county staff, but with your own staff to determine if we felt that this was an area that would be readily served. Your Public Works Department did indicate to us that there is capacity, both water, wastewater services, to serve this site. The transportation, we didn't know any particular issues. Of course, that will be analyzed more in depth in the zoning aspect of it. And if this was developed in residential uses, there is capacity to be served by the local schools. We did have this heard by the Planning Commission on June 15th, and they did find it consistent with the Temple Terrace Imagine 2040 comprehensive plan. We presented this to you at the beginning of July, and you instructed us to send this to the Department of Economic Opportunity in Tallahassee for their review. We've received their comments back, and they had no objections, and we are here this evening for your consideration of adoption. With that, Planning Commission staff recommends the City Council adopt an ordinance approving TTCPA 2101. And with that, Mayor, I stand for any questions. Also, I will note the applicants here and may also have a brief presentation.
Very good, Mr. Hudson. Would the applicant like to say anything? Okay. Are there members of the public who wish to comment on this item? Council member questions for the applicant or staff? If not, I'll ask the city clerk to read the title of the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Temple Terrace, Florida, amending the Imagine 2040 Temple Terrace Comprehensive Plan, future land use map for 4 parcels of land located south of Temple Terrace Highway, west of Davis Road and north of Harney Road, consisting of approximately 49.5 plus minus acres, by changing the future land use designation on said property from Community Mixed Use 12 in Hillsborough County to Community Mixed Use 12 in Temple Terrace for CPA 2101, providing for amendment to the official future land use map of the city, providing severability and effective date, and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Public hearing is closed. If the ordinance is acceptable, I entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 1509. Well, hold on, I gotta read the folio numbers. Hank, you know how much I look forward to that, right?
I was gonna do it for you.
Adopting the comprehensive plan amendment of folio numbers 038181-0000, 038190-0000, 038204-0000, and 038205-0000. Mr. Schisler.
Move to adopt ordinance 1509 approve on the second public hearing of the comprehensive plan of the aforementioned folio numbers.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No nays? Passed. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is a first public hearing and first reading adopting ordinance 1511 for RZP 21-03, folio 038204-0000, and portions of 038181-0000 and 038205-0000. Open the public hearing. And I'll ask anyone who intends to speak on this matter to please stand and be sworn in by the city clerk.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. City attorney, would you please poll the council for ex parte communication?
Yeah,
Yes. Have any of you had any ex parte communication with anyone concerning this particular matter? This would include any verbal communication or any written communication. If you have received any written communication, please state what that is. From whom did you receive it, what the content was, and a copy of it should be provided to the clerk to be made part of the record. The same information would need to be stated if you've had any verbal conversations with anybody concerning this matter, who they were with, when they occurred, the sum and substance of the conversation.
I've had none.
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 Thank you.
Very good. Senior Planner Gus Carpus will explain. Welcome, Mr. Carpus.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. You'll be happy to know that from now on, this property will be one less folio number. Okay, so tonight you have before you the first public hearing and reading to adopt Ordinance 1511 for rezoning 2103. That's rezone 19.46 plus or minus acres. For the folio numbers as mentioned by the mayor, and a portion of two other folio numbers. So the property is unaddressed, and it's located south of Temple Terrace Highway and west of Davis Road. So this is the property we annexed and the property we just discussed with Mr. Hudson there, but only a portion of it would be rezoned, and it's that north portion there just south of Temple Terrace Highway and west of Davis Road. The remainder of the property is going to be dealt with at a later time. It's under different ownership. Again, the current zoning is planned development, and that's in Hillsborough County, and they're looking to zone it as planned development in the city of Temple Terrace. Again, the size is 19.46 plus or minus acres. Again, previously annexed into the city, only the portion of 19.46 acres shown on the aerial map here would be rezoned at this time. The proposed parcel, or the proposed property be split into two parcels with an outlot. This would be done as also at a later date. Would host a medical center with inpatient facilities. There would be a west parcel that would be 4.51 acres with the drainage area and a 0.89 acre out parcel that would be intended for future commercial development. And again, a lot of this would come out during the site plan portion. That's still to come. At this point, this is only the rezoning. There are some various perspectives that the applicant turned in as part of the application process. Nice lobby. The previous actions taken on this, it was the Development Review Committee looked at the application for the rezoning and had no objections to the proposal. The Planning Commission staff reviewed the request and found it consistent with the comprehensive plan in June. And staff recommends the City Council approve the first reading to adopt Ordinance 1511 for the zoning reclassification, proposing to change the zoning from planned development in Hillsborough County to planned development in Temple Terrace for the folios that are listed there. Now, the applicant did submit some slides that I will be showing for them. Okay, so here is an exterior shot of the site as they're showing it right now. Again, as they submit for the site plan, they'll give more detailed elevations. Here is a site plan again, which looks much better than the one I showed you. Again, it shows that they have a drainage area to the west side. It also shows the out parcel that would be also on the west, that would be for the commercial development. Again, the site plans are going to be more detailed when they come around with the actual application for the site plan development. They added some facts here. They're looking at the estimated completion date, the second half of 2023. It would be a privately owned project leased through the Veterans Administration. It looks like they are showing a potential tax annually of $450,000. And again, this is comparable to other sites that they've had. They would be adding a new traffic signal at Temple Terrace Highway, and you can see that at their main entrance up there. I don't know if you can see that. And it looks like they're going to be providing 500 construction-related jobs during the construction and approximately 300 permanent jobs once the project is completed. Thank you. If they have any questions, I have like 7 people here, the applicant does. But if you have any questions for me first, I'd be willing and able to answer them, and then they are here.
Prior to questions, would the applicant like to make any comments or statements, or Ms. Corbett, I believe?
Good evening, Cammie Corbett, 101 East Kennedy Boulevard, Tampa, Florida, Suite 3700. I'm representing the applicant. Mike Owens from Cullinan Properties, who you've heard from before and met before, is here with me. We also have our project team of Jenny Urkan from Prosser, who is working on both the zoning site plan and the site plan. And then we also have Michael Yates, our transportation engineer. And just want to thank you again for your support, and we're here to answer any questions you might have.
Good, thank you, Ms. Corbett. Are there members of the public who wish to comment on this? Members of the public? Seeing none, council member questions? I do have one. I'm not sure who to address it to, so you guys discuss that and field the right person. This is a county road out there which intersects with US 301 nearby. I'm assuming that part of this project is a traffic study. You talked about a traffic signal. Here's my, I don't want to say it's a concern. Here's my question. We added Amazon, which primarily adds volume to the 301 side. That shouldn't really impact Temple Terrace Highway. We have a new subdivision going in right down the road, which is, 141 single-family residences, which obviously will impact the number of trips. What about this? And that's not our road, it's a county road, so walk us through that if you could.
Sure. You okay if I take off my mask? So, from a traffic perspective, oh, sorry, Michael Yates, Palm Traffic, 400 North Tampa Street, Suite 1500. So from a traffic perspective, we have met with Hillsborough County. They are county roads. We will do our primary access off of Temple Terrace Highway. We will have an emergency access off of Davis Road just as a secondary emergency access. And we will have a right-in, right-out to the western side of the project. Based on the current capacity standards that Hillsborough County maintains for the road, it operates with a V over C volume to capacity of 0.38 today. So it's not even at half capacity. So there is plenty of capacity within the road to accommodate the project and other development that is occurring around there. With the Amazon facility down at Harney and Davis, they are doing a new signal there. That is going through permitting now through Hillsborough County. And my understanding is they're in the last reviews of that signal design. Our proposed signal, we've met with Hillsborough County. We've had discussions with them on the operation and the location and that conceptual, and they have conceptually found it approvable based on the information provided, and we'll need to go through a full signal design at that time. That was a long-winded answer to your question.
No, that's fine.
But I want to make sure I got it.
No, very good, thank you.
And that information will be provided during the site plan process, which is an application that would still be submitted.
Correct, and we've done some preliminary numbers just to make sure in advance of formally submitting that.
Yeah, thank you. This another question for Ms. Corbett. As I saw in here that it was inpatient or outpatient or both, or yes or no, or?
It's both.
Both. And how many beds are they anticipating for the initial project?
60.
Pardon me?
60.
Okay, thank you.
Council member, other questions for the applicant or staff? I have a question for my colleague, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but you would know this probably better than me. What's the heart line availability out there? What's the, is it running out there? Are they gonna expand out there? Do they need to expand out
Yes,
there?
they're anticipating expanding out there to assist, but the initial discussions we had did not include the north part of the property. We looked at more of the south part of the property. So we will circle back with Hart now that we know where the initial application is for, where the initial site plan is for. We'll circle back with Hart to see if we can accommodate one way or another.
I did send an email with this project and also the in-light project that we're going to look at next to Mr., what's his name, last name, Bracken?
Yeah, one of the things that we've done, to that point, if I may, is Mr. Stevenson, I had met with the distribution or the planning individual, and they are now part of our development committee that, just like the other departments, they now get a copy of this information, so that they're in step with us, and we're not playing catch-up with them. So, yeah, now that I know it's on the north side, we'll close the loop with them on that and see what we can do.
Cami Corbett again for the record. We did actually reach out to Hart and the planning group, Justin Willits and his supervisor, and we're coordinating with them to make sure they know we're there and that we really value particularly that portion of Route 48 that goes up to the USF area and back down again. So that's real important to us. Thank you.
We'll work on the other side too with them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Council members, other questions? None, I'll close the public hearing and ask the clerk to read the title of the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Temple Terrace, Florida, rezoning 19.46 plus minus acres of Folio 038-204-0000 in portions of 038-181-0000 and 038-205-0000, located south of Temple Terrace Highway and west of Davis Road, from zone of classification plan development in Hillsborough County to plan development in Temple Terrace, for RZP 2103, providing for amendment of the official zoning map of the city, providing severability and effective date, and repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 1511 on first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No nays. The ordinance is approved on first reading and will appear for a second reading and public hearing on Tuesday, September 7th, 2021. Thank you all. Next item on the agenda is a second public hearing and second reading adopting ordinance 1510 for RZP 21-01, rezoning the southern 15.07 acres of folio number 038218-0000. I'll open the public hearing. Ask anyone who intends to speak on this matter to stand and be sworn in by the city clerk.
Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, we're good.
You swear to tell the truth?
I do.
Well, thank you.
City Attorney, would you please inquire among the council members for ex parte communication?
I hate to go through all this again, but each item stands on its own as far as the record goes. So I will now inquire as to whether any of you have had any ex parte communications concerning this matter. This would include verbal communications as well as written communications. If you have received anything in writing from anyone concerning this matter, that please provide a copy of it to the city clerk for the record. And please state whether you have received anything in writing or whether you've received a verbal communication from anyone concerning this matter. And when you do so, state whether state where this occurred, what the sum and substance of the communication was, and from whom you received that communication. Ms. Abel?
I've had none.
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 Good. Senior Planner Gus Carpus will explain. Welcome, Mr. Carpus.
Once again, good evening, Mayor and council members. What you have before you is the second public hearing and reading to adopt Ordinance 1510 for RZP 2101, which is a zoning reclassification to rezone the southern 15.07 plus or minus acres of folio number 038-218-0000. It's an unaddressed property located south of Harney Road, west of Industrial Lane, and north of Harney Bypass Canal. It's currently zoned agricultural urban, and the proposed zoning is planned development. Under the city's comprehensive plan, it needs to be zoned planned development. It's kind of a glitch. I do not know why. Otherwise, they were looking to rezone it as light industrial, as in the industrial park to the east. But under the comprehensive plan, it must be zoned planned development. Okay, so we saw this last time. I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit. The conceptual plan shows that the applicant is seeking to build a 175,500 square foot warehouse structure. Specific plans will be submitted during the site plan application review process. Again, here are some elevations. Again, the height was shown to be about 40 foot in height with 44 foot parapet decorations at the entranceways. Again, the complete site plan will show the final elevations. The Development Review Committee reviewed the application and had no objection to the proposal. The Planning Commission staff reviewed the request and found it to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. The City Council reviewed and adopted the first reading of the ordinance at their August 3rd meeting. And staff recommends the council approve the second reading, adopting Ordinance 1510, proposing to change the zoning classification of the 15.07 plus minus acres west of Industrial Boulevard, north of Harney Bypass Canal, from agricultural urban to planned development. That is all I have, and the applicant's representative is here if you have any questions.
Very good. Good evening. Would you like to make a presentation or say anything?
No, not really. I just want to thank you all. Isabel Albert with HAB 1000 North Ashley Street, and I'm here if you have any questions.
Very well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Are there members of the public who wish to comment on this item? Yes, sir. Please state your name and city of residence for the record.
Tim Vadney from Tampa. We have a house right on Tom Sawyer, which abuts that green area. And we always just thought that green area is like a nice, like a green zone between the industrial warehouse area and the housing area. So I don't know, they put a 40-foot warehouse there, that's not going to help that whole neighborhood right there. And where's the road going to come from to get in there?
If I can get my, okay, again, this is like the site plan process right now, but so I'm guessing you live to the west?
To the west, yeah.
Okay.
Tom Sawyer.
So the conceptual plan shows that, what is the distance? 40 feet, 50 feet from the west of the building to the residential areas?
That is correct. If you look at the site plan, we have approximately almost 90 feet, I would say about 90 feet from the property line to the building proposed. We're also proposing screening, landscaping, for code, and then when we originally started, we had our dry retention pond on the retention pond on the east side. We moved it to the west to further ourselves away from the residents to the west of us.
Sir, if you give me your contact information, I will contact you once the site plan itself comes in, so you get an opportunity to look at it, so you can comment.
Okay, so is there going to be another hearing after this, or is this it?
Currently, this is the rezoning process. The site plan itself needs to be reviewed by the council.
Mr. Carpus, would you, I don't know if you have a slide on this deck that depicts it, but would you talk for this gentleman's benefit about Industrial Lane? That's a road, that's a new road. He may or may not be familiar with that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a,
There's a new road, the Davis Road extension.
That one works.
yeah, that's not shown on, because all my maps are old.
So the traffic would go, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the traffic will go down Industrial Lane through the industrial park out to 301. That's the ingress and egress. So there shouldn't be any traffic impacts. I mean, I can't tell you that employees might not drive down your road. That could happen, but the truck traffic in and out? What's that?
There's no access.
The truck traffic would come off of Maysland down Industrial Lane on the east side of the property. There would be no access off the west side.
That's correct.
So it would
It's all
become,
gonna be coming from the east side.
so you got Maysland Road coming into the industrial park. I'm sorry, the council can't see this. The site plan is not being reviewed right now, so the council doesn't have the benefit of seeing this. Okay, if you can give me your contact information, we can get that all to you. At this point, we're looking at the rezoning, but I actually have a card, I'll grab it for you.
Okay. Mr. Carpus, if you would communicate with this gentleman
I sure
offline,
will.
and sir, I would encourage you, if you have concerns after Mr. Carpus kind of walks you through some of this, there will be another opportunity for public comment at the site, the plan review. So we welcome you to come back and make public comment. I think we can alleviate some of your concerns. We do have another person. Yes, ma'am. We need you to state your name and city of residence, please.
Carrie Mattioli, Temple Terrace. I just wanted to ask some clarifications on that information. I saw that there were some red corners on the map. Does that indicate you're beyond the normal standard? Because I know with a planned development, you can trade good things for bad things. And if we are accepting the planned development from Tampa, do we have to accept it as it is?
Okay, for Tampa?
Well, what was the planned development? Oh, this is just a rezoning. I'm sorry, I was thinking of the last group.
So can you?
The clarification is, with a planned development, if that's the way that this has to be done, that's the only option?
The zoning can only be a planned development. We cannot rezone it to industrial like they originally wanted to, because our comprehensive plan says that property brought in as agricultural
Yeah,
urban must be planned development. It's not their choice, it's by our comprehensive plan.
Okay, but with planned development, you have the opportunity to gain extra things such as a higher FAR and things like that. Is that correct?
We're not requesting.
But they're not requesting that at this point.
No, we're not requesting that.
Good answer.
No, they're not.
Thank you.
What was your address for the record?
I don't think you need.
6103 Liberty Avenue.
Are there other members of the public who wish to comment on this? It's not going exactly as smoothly as I planned, but we're getting there.
Well, a lot of the questions are about the site plan.
But
Site plan
you
is
know,
coming later.
it's okay. It might be not choreographed perfectly, but we're getting there.
Doesn't have to be.
Kind of question.
Are there other members of the public who'd like to comment on this item? Seeing none. Council member questions? Any questions from the council? Very good. If not, I'll close the public hearing. Ask the Madam Clerk to read the title of the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Temple Terrace, Florida, rezoning the southern 15.07 plus minus acres of Folio number 038-218-0000, located south of Harney Road, west of Industrial Lane, and north of Harney Bypass Canal, from zoning classification agricultural urban to planned development for RZP 2101, providing for amendment to the official zoning map of the city, providing severability and effective date, and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 1510 on second reading?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No nays? Ordinance is adopted. Thank you, Mr. Purpose. Next item on the agenda is the first public hearing and first reading of Ordinance 1508, amending Chapter 22, Article 6 of the Code, Solid Waste Collection and Disposal. I will open the public hearing. Public Works Director of Operations and Maintenance, Ray LeBlanc, will explain. Welcome, Mr. LeBlanc. Good to see you again. We've seen a lot of you today.
You think so?
You've had a long day.
It's all right. It's all good. All right, we'll start from the top. In January this year, city made a long overdue transition to semi-automated system to collect residential trash. The city's fleet of sanitation vehicles were retrofitted with automatic tippers to pick up standard 95 or 65-gallon sanitation carts, and the previous practice of the crews collecting this work manually was discontinued. Along with the implementation of the new automated system, the collection practice for residential solid waste has changed. And in order to reflect the new semi-automated system, it is now necessary to revise Chapter 22, Article 6 of our Code of Ordinances, which addresses solid waste collection and disposal. After performing a review of the Article 6 to update, In performing a review of the article to update to reflect current collection practices, it also became apparent that other sections of this article were incorrect and/or outdated. The last time a thorough review and revision of this article had been performed was through Ordinance 1091, adopted June 3rd, 2003. With this in mind, the best course of action was to review and revise the entire article. City staff prepared a draft ordinance that reflects and updates to Chapter 22, Article 6 of the city's Code of Ordinances relative to collection and disposal of solid waste in the city of Temple Terrace. At the June 1st, 2021 City Council meeting, and after a short discussion, it was suggested that the language in regard to tree removal and special annual pickups be clarified. Staff has inserted language that addresses the council's direction. The previous revisions are in red, and the revisions added to address the council's discussion at the June 1st meeting are in green. I assume everybody has a copy of this. I can go through. Sorry for the color, James. They had to pick a color.
I can read it. Good.
The revisions following the June 1st, 2021 meeting address yard waste less than 3 feet in length and 5 inches in diameter and tree trimmings. Section 22-342, special annual collections, was addressed. The city provides one free collection per calendar year for very large items that do not meet regular collection requirements for residents with active utility accounts. This special collection is not transferable between addresses, and residents with multiple active utility accounts are entitled to one free annual collection for each active account. Special annual collections are intended to collect large, bulky items and/or normal waste that is generated by residents. Also in green, the following items are not eligible for special annual collections: hazardous waste materials, biohazardous, medical waste, and/or inflammable or explosive refuse, building construction debris, commercially generated debris from trees removed with trunks measuring greater than 10 inches diameter at breast height. Trees removed that are greater than 10 inches diameter at breast height shall be subject to the adopted fee schedule for removal. And tree removal, tree debris measuring greater than 10 inches in diameter shall be subject to the adopted tree fee removal schedule. Those are the revisions that we put in after the last meeting. It's a lot, but I think it needs to be clear, and we certainly appreciate all the time spent on this because, as we discussed, it adds up. So if this is approved on the first reading, a public hearing and second reading of the ordinance will be held at the September 7th, 2021 City Council meeting.
Thank you, Mr. LeBlanc. I have one request from the public comment on this from Mrs. Tumbleson. Welcome, Mrs. Tumbleson.
Thank you, Jan Tumbleson, Temple Terrace. This is a very concise and thorough ordinance, and as a resident, I strongly suggest this to be approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Tumbleson. Are there other members of the public who wish to comment on this item? We're running out of public. Okay. If council members, do you have questions for Mr. LeBlanc? Council Member Abel.
I have a question. First, thank you for making these changes, it's a lot clearer and it addresses everything. But for the following items that are not eligible for special annual collections, I have a question about building and construction debris. So if I were to take down my shed in the backyard and call for a special pickup, would that be acceptable or not acceptable?
It really depends, what kind of shed is it? If it's, because there's concrete sheds, there's metal sheds, there's all stuff. And
Hypothetically, it's wood.
it's
Wood.
It's wood. It's really not construction debris. I mean, what we do, I've always practiced in the city, if it's a question, we're 5 minutes from anywhere. We'll come look at it. Otherwise, we'll have 10 pages of green here. I think I'm not leaving the door open, but if it's a standard 7x7 shed that's made out of wood and no foundation, chances are it's going to be eligible. So there has to be some case-by-case scenarios, but I'm not opening the door, but I'm saying most likely. You know, people say, well, that means all sheds? No. But, I mean, I know places that have rules where I live. If your shed is 7x7, you can keep it and get rid of it for free. That's why I use that example. Hypothetically, yes.
Thank you.
You know,
For clarification, Mr. LeBlanc,
I'm done, go ahead.
for clarification, the alternative is if the decision was made that that particular debris is not, then the person would have to rent a roll-off.
They can rent the roll-off.
Right, that's the next, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things which we do a lot, we did, I think, 2 or 3 last week. We asked the resident, we give them an option instead of pay roll-off, if, you know, cut it up to where make it eligible. And it doesn't come out of your pocket, and people, okay, then they get tired of seeing you real quick, you know?
Okay.
That's what we do. Because not everything's the same.
Right. But there is a remedy. It's not like somebody's stuck with this stuff and there's no way to get rid of it.
I'm in the disposal business.
Okay.
We can
Mr.
get rid of it.
Stevenson?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, if I could just maybe clarify this just a little bit. You know, building and construction debris, I think the intent of that is if someone is building a house or renovating a house.
Redoing their kitchen.
And that would require the CD.
Right. And that's kind of
dumpster.
difficult to quantify that in a.
I mean, if someone is trying to dispose of a shed, for instance, being the question, I don't know that would be considered construction debris.
Right, I got it.
Yeah, we've had a shed and people have a 5-gallon bucket of concrete. We're not just workers, we're estimators. We go out and work with people.
If you put it in the 95-gallon can?
Yeah, one piece at a time, like that old song, right? Take a while. Other questions for Mr. LeBlanc? Yeah. Other questions for Mr. LeBlanc? Kind of lost my place here. Let me make sure I'm on track. Okay. Ray, I just want to say thank you. I know this was a difficult thing, and at the first time we had a lot of, what if this, what if that, but I read this today, and I don't know how like my colleagues feel, but I think you did a good job of, you and Mr. Stevenson kind of nailing this down to something that,
It's an everyday occurrence.
Yeah.
We haven't run out of garbage yet.
yeah, well, we appreciate the work that you guys put into this, and so I will close the public hearing and ask the clerk to read the title of the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Temple Terrace, Florida, amending Chapter 22 of the City of Temple Terrace Code of Ordinances, Utilities, Article 6, Solid Waste Collection and Disposal by revising Section 22-336, Definitions by revising Section 22-338, Collection by the City, by revising Section 22-340, Collection Practices for Solid Waste, by revising Section 22-341, Collection Practices for Yard Waste, by enacting a new Section 22-342, Special Annual Collections, by renumbering and revising Section 22-342, Collection Practices for Recyclables, by renumbering and revising Section 22-343, Collection Practices for Commercial Solid Collection Services, by renumbering and revising Section 22-344, Storing of Solid Waste, Trash, Refuse, by renumbering and revising Section 22-345, Special Solid Waste, Trash, Refuse Disposal, by renumbering Section 22-346, serviced by private hauler contractors by enacting a new section 22-348, shopping carts, shopping baskets, and related items, providing for authority to codify, providing for the repeal of ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
That's what you get for laughing at me about the folio numbers. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 1508 on first reading?
I move to approve the first reading of ordinance 1508, amending chapter 22, article 6 of the code, solid waste collection and disposal. And I said it in so many words because I was trying to keep up with the entire ordinance.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion?
Could she reread the ordinance again?
Seeing none, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. No nays. The ordinance is adopted on first reading and will appear for second reading and public hearing on Tuesday, September 7th, 2021. Thank you, Mr. LeBlanc. Next item is a resolution approving fiscal year 2021 interlocal community development block grant. Finance Director Lynn Boswell will explain. Welcome, Mrs. Boswell.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor and council, so great to see you this evening. I can't actually see. In order to retain access to the city's share of Community Development Block Grant Program funds, a one-year interlocal agreement with Hillsborough County is provided for your approval. This agreement is for federal fiscal year 2020-2021. It shall commence upon execution by both parties and shall remain in full force and effect until July 31st, 2022, with expenses completed by the city by June 30th, 2022. Any funds not expended under this agreement must be returned to the county to be reprogrammed into the county's CDBG budget. Funds made available through this agreement are utilized to provide benefit to low to moderate income persons. The following activities are funded in the proposal agreement, and that is infrastructure improvements. Staff recommends that the City Council adopt a resolution authorizing execution of an agreement between Hillsborough County and the City of Temple Terrace to fund street improvements under the Community Development Block Grant Program in the amount of $256,485.
Thank you, Mrs. Boswell. Are there members of the public who wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, council member, do you have council member questions? Any questions for? Okay, very good. Is there a motion to approve fiscal year 2021 interlocal community development block grant funding in an amount not to exceed $256,485?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion?
Yes.
Councilmember Abel.
So last Monday, I was at the Affordable Housing Board meeting, and in my packet, I saw this agenda item cover sheet, and I saw Temple Terrace in it, so I really zeroed in. And it went over this CDBG interlocal agreement dating back to 2019, and at some point, we had an opportunity to have more money to the tune of about $500,000. And I have no intention to point fingers or assign blame to anybody, but because of time constraints and not getting it in time, we didn't get that amount of money. And I just want to make sure that in the future we don't miss any opportunities to get CDBG funds that could be useful to us in our roadway improvement or however we put those to use.
So do you know what happened? Did we not ask for it but by a certain deadline, or how did that?
I have spent a little bit of time sleuthing this, and I spoke with Cheryl Howell today from Affordable Housing Services. I also reached out to the finance director. She can give her explanation if I don't want to put you on the spot, but we did discuss it. So,
Mrs. Boswell, can you help us understand what happened there?
Yes, we had, it was actually a 2018-19 interlocal government, so it was 2 grants ago from this one here. And we had the extra $500,000 we had asked for to do more infrastructure improvements at that time. We had a timeline to do that because we had the need to do it. And then unfortunately with the situation, COVID, contracting, RFPs, all of that just combined made it difficult to complete their timeline. Subsequent to that, there was some misunderstanding between and turnover between the county, actually the county side, and misunderstanding on our side, in which some of the rules were actually potentially not necessarily followed, and we did not realize that there was a time constraint on that 500,000. Your second modification that you did for the 18-19 recognized that and corrected that, and at this point in time, what we've got right now is still an opportunity to regain that 500,000 for future projects, but not for this particular one. So every year, as soon as I'm done with the application or the deadlines are almost done, I will be continually asking HUD, do you have that extra 500,000 by any chance for us to be able to complete some other projects using the CDBG funds?
I don't know that I understood that, but okay.
It's been before us before, hasn't it?
Yeah, didn't you bring that?
We were aware of this issue. Yeah, I thought we were. We were aware that this occurred.
Yes.
And we knew that the steps were being put in place
Yes,
to
that's
remedy it so that it didn't happen again. I remember this coming before council
Yes.
before in my tenure.
And our utilities director, Troy Tinch, has done a really good job of already preparing and for this particular project and for future projects, and we've spoken, and with the addition of Brian, I don't see this happening again in the future. I think we've mitigated that.
I thought this had been here before.
Yes.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure if I was privy to that discussion, but it's good to know that it's,
So we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion on the motion?
I have a question.
Councilmember, I'm sorry, Vice Mayor Donahue.
In the agreement, it says that, whereas the county is undertaking to utilize its CDBG funds to develop and sustain viable communities, including providing decent housing, a suitable living environment, and expanding economic opportunities, principally for persons and households of low and moderate income. Is that what we look at? Are we picking that, or is that just one of the things they recommend?
It is not one of the things they recommend. It is a requirement. We have some census areas that fall within that range of low to moderate, and only those census areas are eligible for CDBG work to be done. We may have needs elsewhere, but if they are not within that low to moderate, it is not inclusive of and not available for CDBG funding.
Thank you. That's good to know.
Other discussion of the motion? If not, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No nays. Interlocal agreement is passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is a resolution approving Hampton Oaks non-ad valorem assessment for fiscal year 21-22. Finance Director Lynn Boswell will be back to explain. Welcome back.
Thank you. Hello, Mayor. Good evening, council members. The City Council created the Hampton Oaks Assessment Area at the request of the Hampton Oaks Homeowners Association on September 16, 2014 for street lighting and stormwater management services. Per Florida Statute 197.3632 and Section 2.08 of the city's ordinance, the city must adopt an annual assessment resolution and certify to the tax collector the non-ad valorem assessment rule for the Hampton Oaks area by September 15th. The tax collector will then produce a combined notice of ad valorem and non-ad valorem assessments for the Hampton Oaks assessment areas as described in Florida Statute 197.3635. There are 43 single-family residential parcels in the Hampton Oaks assessment area. The total assessment for the Hampton Oaks area is $11,094 or $258 per parcel for the 2021 assessment. Staff recommends that City Council approve a resolution for the 2021 non-ad valorem assessment rule for the Hampton Oaks area and direct the certification of the assessment rule to the Hillsborough County Tax Collector.
Thank you, Mrs. Boswell. Are there members of the public who wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, council member questions? Any questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the Hampton Oaks non-ad valorem assessment for fiscal year 21-22?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed? No nays. Motion passes. The resolution is adopted. Thank you, Mrs. Boswell. Next item on the agenda is a resolution approving a task work order for general asphalt resurfacing to Asphalt Paving Systems, Inc. City Engineer Brian McCarthy will explain. Welcome, Mr. McCarthy.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Brian McCarthy, City Engineer. Today I'm seeking approval to, seeking your approval for a task work order to Asphalt Paving Systems for roadway resurfacing. On the screen in front of you is the proposed project. So the first area is going to be along Gillette Avenue from Fowler down to Whiteway Drive. With the nearby schools, Greco Middle School and Roland Lewis Elementary School, we'll coordinate with our contractor to ensure to help minimize the delays during pickups and drop-offs. And then on the second slide, there. And then on the second slide are the remaining areas. It's going to be along Live Oak Avenue from Sunnyside Road to Glen Oaks Avenue, as well as Brentwood Drive from Sunnyside to Glen Oaks. Back in May of 2021, City Council approved our general asphalt resurfacing contract, with Asphalt Paving Systems being one of them. And then the task work order includes work such as full depth reclamation, milling and resurfacing, and restriping the pavement markings. That said, staff recommends City Council approve the expenditure of $408,111.39 to Asphalt Paving Systems for general asphalt milling and resurfacing to be provided from account number 130-1724-541.63-11. Thank you for your time, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Are there members of the public who wish to address this item? Seeing none, council member questions? I have, go ahead, Mr. Sisler.
Go ahead.
I have just one quick one, and I should know the answer to this. I drive on that road probably 6 times a week. Is there a bike lane on that road? Gillette. Ah, should there be one? Is there room for one?
We can certainly look into it.
Well, and because that's a major, to the rec center, Greco, that's a, if there's not, it seems like that would be a good candidate. And it may not be in what you've already put out, but wouldn't this be, if the road width is wide enough to accommodate it, wouldn't it be a good time to maybe at least look at that? I'm not an engineer. I'm just saying that seems like that road would be a good candidate for a bike lane.
Well, I think at the very least, you can look at whether or not, if there's not enough room for a bike lane, you could put shared lane. Certainly create.
Sharrows are like,
I'm not a big fan of them either, but that's certainly one of those things that you can designate as a.
Yeah, I got an opinion about Sharrows. We put paint on pavement and tell bikers it's safe to ride on them.
I would ride on Gillette much sooner than I would ride on 56th Street. 56th Street has those.
No, I get you. I know you didn't invent Sharrows.
Yeah, I don't know that we can look into it.
Yeah, if you just take a look, I don't know. I mean, I know there's requirements. You have to have so much room and stuff. I mean, I know the speed limit factors in. I know it's not just like, oh yeah, let's paint a bike lane. I know you got to meet some requirements.
There might be enough right-of-way there as well that we can perhaps widen the sidewalk to create a multi-use path.
Yeah, just if you would, just take a look at it. You don't have to answer back to me, just if you would. Mr. Schisler.
Yeah, my only question is, and I know I ask this every time, are these the most important roads or the most critical roads to do? We're following our sequencing of the extensive review that Public Works has done, and these are the next roads, the next worst roads to be complete.
So these roads are within our 5-year plan.
That's not what I asked you.
There is some roadways that got moved because we do have a water main project running through the neighborhood. So
Okay,
just
that's
north
valid.
of Live Oak Avenue, for instance, is Glen Oaks, which we removed out of this project because of
If
that.
we were to come back and audit the original plan and say, okay, these were the, and I can't remember what the these are A roads, they're the worst, and we're not taking a D road and bumping it up, we're following the sequence so that if a resident says to us, hey, my road looks terrible, well, and we just did this, we just resurfaced Gillette. Did Gillette really need it, or did River Hills really need it, or whatever we're working on? You're confident that we can answer that and say we're taking it in sequencing and order that of necessity. Okay, that's all I want to hear. Thank you.
Councilmember Chambers.
Thank you. Do we have a timeline when the road project may start?
So assuming council approves this evening, we'll work with Asphalt Paving Systems on a schedule. We do have a deadline to get it done before the end of the fiscal year, and the contractor is aware of that.
Okay.
Fiscal year?
This fiscal year.
Fiscal year, yes.
That'll be quick.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, council members? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to approve the task work order for general asphalt resurfacing to Asphalt Paving Systems, Inc.?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No nays. Resolution is adopted. Next item on the agenda is a resolution approving a task work order for general asphalt resurfacing to C.W. Roberts Contracting, Inc. City Engineer Brian McCarthy will explain.
Evening again. Brian McCarthy, City Engineer, and I'm also seeking approval for a task work order to C.W. Roberts Contracting for resurfacing. In the slide in front of you, the proposed work is going to be along River Hills Drive from Fowler down to Whiteway Drive, Cliff Drive between Montrose Avenue and Whiteway, Montrose Avenue from the cul-de-sac down to Whiteway Drive, and then Nantucket Drive from Whiteway down to Druid Hills. And back in May of this year, City Council approved a general asphalt resurfacing contract. C.W. Roberts is one of those companies. The roads that we have identified are within our 5-year plan. And the task work order includes work such as milling and resurfacing, replacing pavement markings, as well as some curb and gutter. That said, staff recommends City Council approve the expenditure of $249,351.86 to C.W. Roberts Contracting for general asphalt resurfacing to be provided from account 130-1724-541.63-11. I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Are there members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, council member questions.
I have one.
Mr. Chambers.
Will you guys be able to coordinate the two projects, so both north-south roads, Gillette from one we just approved to this one, North River Hills,
Yes.
are not closed the same time?
Yes, so we'll work with both contractors to make sure that the schedule doesn't conflict.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Good question. Thank you, Mr. Chambers. Any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No nays. The resolution is adopted. Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Is there any carryover council business from previous meetings? Carryover council business. Seeing none, new business and board reports. New business or board reports. Councilmember Abel.
I went to the Affordable Housing Board meeting last Monday, as I said earlier, and they did announce that the R3 home help money is still available for people facing eviction or needing utility help. The county, Hillsborough County, has done a really good job getting that money out to the people, but there are people who they know that they're not reaching. Statewide, that money has been they've been having trouble dispersing it because sometimes when people are having a hard time, they can't necessarily get to the resources. Hillsborough's been doing great, but we want to make sure the word is continuing to get out so that people who are in a bad situation, maybe facing eviction sometime soon, can get access to that money. So that's R3 Home Help, and that can be found on the Hillsborough County website.
Thank you, Councilmember. And I think we did, or I think we still do have a link from our website to that link also.
I think so.
Good, good, thank you. Other new business board reports? I do have one thing, Mr. Sischler, for you. As our liaison to the SAC committee for the country club, would it be possible to extend an invitation for them to come and, I don't have any particular information I'm seeking, or I would call them, but just as a general, a couple times a year, maybe, to come and just, give us a.
We did just meet last week, and there's a couple of issues, but they're planning on probably coming shortly anyway.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
This is something that they'll need to come to council for anyway on another issue related to the property. But yes, I will extend an invitation, and
Okay.
I will make sure that.
Well, I don't know what they're gonna wanna talk about, but maybe they wanna separate this. I just want them to come and give us a 5-minute, like,
Sure.
we're doing good, we're not doing good, or,
Okay.
events are up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I don't know if they wanna do that in conjunction with what their other business is, or if they wanna separate it.
I will give them that option.
But yeah, if they just come, I mean, we don't need to hear from them monthly, or, I mean, I don't even wanna say every 3 months, or, but, a couple times a year would be good to
We'll do that.
have.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Okay, Councilmember Abel, I think beat you.
I have another board report that I
Okay.
forgot to mention at first.
That's all right, go right ahead.
But the last time I went to a river board meeting, one of the things that we did was approve a letter to be sent to the president of USF, Mr. Curall, I think, who's now stepped down. But it was in regard to the USF Forest Preserve, which we've seen in the news a lot lately. And even though that's outside of Temple Terrace and we don't really have any say in that, I think that it's important to know that we have sent a letter really encouraging the university to go down other avenues other than developing that property. And I just wanted everyone to know that on the river board, we went ahead and promoted that idea.
Good, thank you, Councilmember Abel. Questions about that? Very good, Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I have a question. I was in Portland recently, and on roads about the same, intersections, about the same size as this White Way and Gillette, there were crossing that were diagonal rather than, have we considered putting any of those in for areas that we know have a lot of pedestrian traffic, like near schools, or, I mean, that particular corner is the one that I would think of first. There's quite a bit of crossing, bicycles, things in that area. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Normally, you cross straight on the box. But these also have a diagonal where it is a pedestrian crossway, but it goes from, one corner to the far corner. And I'm sure they have an official name, but I don't know what those are. I mean, this doesn't have a traffic light or anything, but it does have a crossing guard.
Correct. Troy Tinge, Public Works Utilities Director. I couldn't be here and not come up and speak with everybody today. To address your question, that would require a specific signal. You would have to signalize the intersection. And what that requires is an all-way stop, so that there is no traffic moving through that intersection. I see those in Japan. That's very popular in that country, but it does require signalization. So you couldn't do it where you just had a stop signs. And I'm not sure you could even do it with a stop guard. You would probably have to have several of them to stop all traffic, and then allow that kind of a movement to the intersection.
Well, and the other area that has me concerned is that as I was driving on Bush Boulevard, between the library with an elementary school right behind it, there were people walking across Bush mid-street.
Right.
There's no pedestrian. Are we thinking about that in any way once the apartments are finished?
And I'm going to, Charles, here just for a second. I believe, Charles, that was one of the improvements we requested from the apartment complex, was it not? to put in a mid-block crossing?
That section of road has come up in many meetings that I've been in with the Vision Zero project that's underway there. There's no easy solution to that because there's standards from how far from that large of an intersection you can go before you have another crosswalk. All these things are covered in these engineering manuals. That's a sticky wicket there. There's no easy solution to that one.
Right.
And you've got the fire station
Well,
there too.
and that's what caused me to have concern, is a mother was walking her two kids across from the parking lot of, Terrace Shops, across to the fire station. So, she was clearly trying to get to the elementary school, and no telling where she had walked from because the apartments aren't there yet. So she had come through the shopping plaza.
I think the moral of the story would be to use the designated crosswalks. That's what they're there for at the intersection. It involves walking a slight distance further, but it is the safest route for sure. And mid-block crossings are dangerous, especially if there's not a defined crossing. That's where you see most of your pedestrian incidents.
Right, but we're gonna be bringing a lot of people right there, and I'm sure many of them will be attending that school.
Hopefully they'll walk that extra little distance to the intersection.
Yeah, I don't, Mr. Mayor, I don't know if it would qualify, but maybe we can talk to DOT about maybe putting one of those hybrid beacons there.
No, I've had talked with Gina.
It's gonna be problematic.
This isn't new. This
Oh,
is.
I know.
Yeah, this is something that's been.
I just wanna keep it on our radar.
Well, a question about that stretch of road there, and I'm not sure who may know the answer. Picture the lights at Sunnyside Sunnyside or Sunnydale?
Sunnyside.
Well, Ridgedale, okay, Ridgedale, and Bush, or Bullard. You've got the regular 3-lens, and then in the middle, you've got a single lens light. What is that for? Anybody know?
For the fire station.
No, because
Oh, that's too
those
far
same
down.
lights appeared at
Fletcher.
56th and Fletcher.
Fletcher.
There's the same light.
Yes.
I don't know what they are either.
I've been asked the question,
I've
and
not
I
paid attention to
keep
that.
forgetting to ask the chief.
I've never noticed it.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know what they're.
Is it only a designated red?
I don't know. I've never
Okay.
seen it there lit.
If you don't mind, let's take this offline, though. We don't.
Well, that's fine. I was hoping somebody would know.
If you find an answer, let us know.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Any other new business or board reports? New business or board reports? If not, city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I may, I'd like to just kind of make a statement regarding our last meeting. While I was disappointed that this body chose to violate the city rules of order and procedure by addressing an anonymous complaint against the city manager at our last meeting, I am nonetheless pledging my full cooperation with any investigation this council may decide on. And when the facts of this matter are brought to light, I expect to be fully exonerated of the alleged wrongdoing referenced by the still unnamed complaint. I'm looking forward to putting this matter behind us, but until then, I will continue to attend to the business of the city for the good of our citizens, businesses, and the city staff who serve them. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Anything else? Any other report, Mr.
Oh, no, sir. I'm fine. Thank you.
City Attorney's report?
Several weeks ago, the Code Enforcement Board had requested that the city attorney investigate the potential for foreclosing a lien that was recorded, a code enforcement lien that was recorded in 2016 that arose from code violations at 10014 North 52nd Street. This property was not a homestead and had been empty property for some time. It was, I believe, a townhouse. It was vacant and had continued to deteriorate. We filed a complaint for foreclosure. This prompted the owner to come forward, start bringing the property into compliance, and then sought to sell the property. A certificate of compliance was issued by the assigned code inspector, And then a title agent had contacted us in order to negotiate a settlement of the foreclosure case that was then pending in circuit court, so that the property could be sold and that the lis pendens that we had filed would be removed. The city costs that were given to us by the clerk's office and by code enforcement was $1,383. We received a check last week in settlement of this case for a little over $23,000. This amount did obviously cover all of the city's costs, as well as all of the costs and fees that were related to the foreclosure action that we had filed. The original lien was $205,100. It had been accruing at the rate of $100 a day since 2016. There was also a $40,000 mortgage on this property. However, that was current and had continued to be paid. So just wanted to update you on that. The Code Enforcement Board does have the authority to request the city attorney to investigate the possibility of lien foreclosures. And we are now just moving forward to begin a second one that they had requested that we looked into. They had requested them at the same time, but this is really the first one that we have done since starting a legal department here, and we wanted to see how one went first before we launched into a second one, so that's why we had held off on the second one. So far so good on this one. The second thing I wanted to mention is that sort of an extension of this, that the legal department hopes to be presenting a plan to you in the near future regarding removing the responsibility of doing lien reductions from the Code Enforcement Board and placing it within the purview of the legal department. This is something that the City of Tampa does. I don't have any details yet, but just wanted to let you know. The third thing is that our intern that we have had since May, Rini Seshi, we've had, she's been here since early May. She took her exams last week. She attends Cooley Law School. Tomorrow is her last day, so if anybody has worked with her or wants to stop by, she will be here tomorrow. We hope to take her to lunch, but you know, you can stop in and say goodbye and good luck to her. So we've appreciated having her, and we are expecting when the next semester begins to get a new intern. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schoen. Council members, any other business? I do have one thing. A very small audience left. The faithful remnant is here, but primarily for the people watching on TV. There's a lot of COVID out there, folks. There's more COVID out there now than there's probably been throughout this pandemic. And we cannot mask our way out of this. The masks are an iffy precaution at best, right? What we should be focusing on is social distancing and vaccines. The way the solution to this pandemic lies in vaccinations and medicine, right? The new drugs, and we're improving all the time. But I implore you, if you are a Temple Terrace resident or if you are watching this, I implore you, if you are not vaccinated, to please go get vaccinated, right? Consult your doctor. Don't take my word for this. Talk to your doctor and ask your doctor if you should be vaccinated or not. Listen to the advice of your doctor. If you are listening to this at home and you don't have a way to get to a place to get vaccinated, call the city. We will help you get to a place to get you vaccinated. If you can't get help, you call the city at 506-6440 and ask for me, and I will help you get to a site to get vaccinated. And if I can't find you transportation, I will take you myself. It is that important. Folks, if you get this disease, even if you're fully vaccinated, if you have other underlying medical conditions, you can still get very sick and die. If you are not vaccinated and you get this disease, the chances of you getting very sick and hospitalized and potentially dying are very significant. This is not the flu. This is something much, much worse. So your best chances are with a vaccination, right? This is, it's the best we have right now, but this is not the answer. The vaccinations are the answer. So please, 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 I'm begging you to get vaccinated. Okay? Please. Council, any other business?
Thank you.
City manager?
If you can't take them, I will.
We'll get you to a vaccination place. We will get you. There's not a person up here that won't take you. So, with that, thank you, folks. We are adjourned.